Hi all, a warm welcome to all of you in the today's daily current affairs session on EduTap. And my dear learners, I hope that all of you are healthy and preparing well for your upcoming exams. And when we talk about exams, then current affairs plays a really very important part. And my dear learners, PIB is the very most important source of these current affairs, and that is the reason that I am back with a very interesting session in which we will be discussing the top news, the top PIB news from the month of November 2021. And here is the topic that we are going to discuss in our today's session. So before starting the session, if you are new to our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe it and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates of the courses and videos offered by us. And you can also join our Telegram channel to get the access to the PDF of these lectures. To join the Telegram channel, kindly click on the link given in the description below. So my dear learners, here is the topic that we are going to discuss in our today's session, that is first All India survey on the domestic workers. So now let's move on to the session. Let's get started. So my dear learners, here you can see the headline from the PIB itself that Shri Bhupender Yadav has flagged off the first ever All India survey on the domestic workers, and this survey will be conducted by the Labour Bureau. So what exactly was the need of launching this kind of All India survey on the domestic workers? See, we all know that domestic workers constitutes a large portion, a significant portion of the total employment in the informal sector, but there is a lack of data in the magnitude as well as the prevailing conditions regarding the employment of these domestic workers. And in order to get the time data series regarding these domestic workers, this particular survey has been launched, and this is the first ever All India survey on the domestic workers, and that is why this particular survey is really very important to be covered by you from the exam point of view. And my dear learners, here you can see that this survey will be conducted by the Labour Bureau. That is, the Indian government has entrusted the Labour Bureau in order to conduct this All India survey on the domestic workers. And in this session, we will be discussing about this All India survey on domestic workers, that what exactly is the aim of this survey, what are the different parameters which will be considered while collecting the data during this particular survey. Apart from that, what exactly will be the coverage of this survey, that is what exactly will be the scope of this survey. Okay, so now let's start the discussion of the All India survey on domestic workers. So my dear learners, here you can see the aim of this survey, that this particular survey aims to estimate the number and the proportion of these domestic workers at the national as well as state level. That means this survey is going to find out the number as well as the proportion of these domestic workers at the national as well as state level. That means in the overall national level, what exactly is the number and the proportion of these domestic workers. Apart from that, it will also find out this number and proportion of the domestic workers at the state level. Apart from this, it is also going to find out the percentage distribution of these domestic workers related to various aspects, such as whether they are in live-in, live-out, or the formal or the informal employment, they are migrants or the non-migrants, and what exactly are their wages, and some other socio-economic characteristics will also be considered while collecting the data during this particular survey. Apart from that, it is also going to provide the household estimates of these live-in and live-out domestic workers, as well as the average number of the domestic workers which are being engaged by the different types of households. So this was the aim of this particular survey, and I hope that this is very much clear to all of you. And now we are moving towards the next aspect of this particular survey, that is the parameters which this Labour Bureau is going to consider while collecting the data regarding this first All India survey on the domestic workers. Okay, so if we talk about the parameters here, the very first parameter is the household characteristics, such as what exactly is the household size, what exactly is the religion and the social group, as well as what exactly is the usual monthly consumption expenditure, as well as the nature of the dwelling unit. So all these household characteristics will be considered by the Labour Bureau while collecting the data during this particular All India survey on the domestic workers. Apart from that, it is also going to consider the demographic characteristics, such as what exactly is the name, the age, the relation to the head, the marital status of these domestic workers, the general education level, whether they are educated or not, and if they are educated, then what exactly is the level of their education. Apart from that, what exactly is their usual principal activity status, and what are the subsidiary activities that they are going through after the completion of their principal activities. Okay, apart from that, the status of these domestic workers will also be considered while collecting the data during this particular All India survey on the domestic workers. Apart from these parameters, this particular survey is also going to collect the information on the domestic workers, such as that at what age they have entered into this particular work. Apart from that, what are the different social groups, the migrant status of this particular domestic workers, the vocational training or education, if they have attained any vocational training or the education, or the number of households they are serving during the particular day, and apart from that, what are the different activities that have been performed by them. Apart from this, this particular survey is also going to collect and notify the number of days that they are working in particular week, and what exactly is the duration of their normal working day. Apart from that, the type of remuneration that they are getting, as well as the frequency, and what exactly are the types of contracts and the distances they are traveling on day-to-day basis in order to reach their workplace. So these are the different parameters on which this particular survey is going to collect data, and it is going to provide this data, and it will help these data are going to help the Indian government to frame the policies related to these domestic workers. And my dear learners, apart from that, it is also going to take the information on the employer households, such as what exactly is the preferences of these domestic workers regarding the gender as well as the marital status, then the mode of payment of the wages, whether it is digital or it is on the cash basis, what are the different modes. Apart from that, the number of days that these domestic workers are working, and the mode of engagement. Apart from this, whether they have worked during the COVID-19 pandemic or not, or whether these services were availed during this COVID-19 pandemic or not. So all these, considering all these parameters, the data will be collected during this particular All India survey by the Labour Bureau. I hope that this particular part is very much clear to all of you. So we have till now discussed the aim, the parameters, and now we will be discussing the scope of the survey. Okay, the scope means that what exactly are the different framework, and what exactly will be the coverage of this particular survey. And if we talk about the coverage, then this survey will cover 37 Indian states and union territories and districts, which are 742. So total 742 districts all over India, and 37 Indian states and union territories will be covered during this particular survey, and data regarding these domestic workers will be collected by the Labour Bureau during this All India survey on domestic workers. Apart from that, they have also entitled the unit of enumeration, that will be the village as per the census 2011, as well as the urban blocks as per the latest phase of the UFS. Okay, and my dear learners, at the All India level, a total number of 12766 first year units have been established, that is 6190 will be the villages, and 6576 UFS blocks will be there, which will be covered during this particular survey. And apart from this, 1,50,000 households will be covered, that is the ultimate stage units will be covered. Okay, and now when we talk about the result, that what exactly is the timeline of this survey, and after what amount of time it is going to produce the results. So the results for this All India Domestic Workers Survey is expected within a time span of 1 year. So my dear learners, I hope that the scope of the survey as well as the result period is really very much clear to all of you. And till now we have discussed all the important aspects regarding this All India survey on the domestic workers, and I hope that this particular survey is very much clear to all of you. And now we are moving towards the question, and before moving on to the question, let's summarize the whole important thing that you must remember, that what exactly are the key takeaways from this particular All India survey on the domestic workers. See, the very first important thing is that it will be conducted, my dear learners, it will be conducted by the Labour Bureau, which is under the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India, and it will be covering 37 states and union territories and 742 districts all over the India. Apart from this, it will be estimating the number and the proportion of the domestic workers at both the national as well as the state level. Okay, and my dear learners, apart from that, when we talk about the results, they are expected to come within a time span of 1 year, and it will going to demonstrate government's commitment towards its evidence-based data-driven policy. See, right now the government of India is moving towards the data-driven policies, and that's how, with the help of this all India survey on the domestic workers and the data which is available on the eShram portal, both these data are really going to help the Indian government in framing different policies in related to these particular people which are in this informal sector. So I hope that this particular part as well as this particular survey is very much clear to all of you. And my dear learners, now I'm having a question for all of you, and all of you are requested to answer the question in the comment section below. And the question is here on your screen. So the question is, which one of the following statements are correct about India's first all India survey on the domestic workers? See, as this is the first India's first all India survey on the domestic workers, and that is the reason that this particular thing is really very important to be covered from the exam point of view. And now my dear learners, as you all know that these statement based questions are really in the trend, and that is the reason that you are required to solve and practice these kind of questions in order to prepare yourself at a very good level from the exam point of view. And my dear learners, in order to answer this question, you are requested to quickly go through these particular statements, analyze these statements as per our discussion during this India's first all India survey on the domestic workers, and then tell me in the comment section below that which one of the following statements are correct about this India's first all India survey on the domestic workers. If you talk about the first statement, it is saying that it will be conducted by Labor Bureau. The second statement is talking about the aim of this particular survey, and the third statement is talking about the coverage, that it will cover 37 Indian states and union territories and 742 districts across the length and the breadth of the country. And my dear learners, when we talk about the right answer is option D, that is all statements 1, 2 and 3 are correct as per this all India survey on domestic workers. So I hope that this particular thing is very much clear to all of you. And my dear learners, that was all from the today's session. So I hope that today's session was really very much fruitful and important for all of you, and you have liked the session. And if you have liked the session, please give a thumbs up in the comment section below. And if you have any queries, then my dear learners, you can drop us a mail at hello@edutap.co.in, and you can also place a call at 814-620-7241. So my dear learners, thank you for joining us. Wish you all happy learning.